Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star Part 225 based on novel. So let's start. Densely surrounding the gigantic, round table, the numerous thrones were divided into 5 different classes: 6 feet wide, 30 feet wide, 160 feet wide, 650 feet wide, and 3,200 feet wide. All the great beings had thrones that fit their godly bodies perfectly. Among them, some universe overlords, like the Heaven Erosion Palace Lord, Ju Feng Knight, and Undying Knight, were seated on the 650-foot wide thrones. And at the top, on towering thrones way high up, many universe masters were seated at the highest tier where they looked down at all the other human great beings. They were super beings from the 5 forces of the human race. All of the towering, 3,200-foot wide thrones were made of dazzling gold except the 2 towering ones right in the middle, which were black and emanated an air of power. One of the 2 black thrones had a faint sculpture of a huge axe. Seated on this throne was a giant with thick fingers and messy, long hair that made him look like a barbarian. The black throne next to him was empty. No one occupied that seat. The other golden thrones were filled by towering figures. Primal Chaos City Leader, the barbaric giant said, looking to the golden throne on his left where Primal Chaos City Leader sat today. He said with a smile, "You are very biased towards Luo Feng. This appears to have brought about much discontent from many universe knights. They are discontented, and I am not surprised. A soul-type true treasure, Primal Chaos City Leader, your disciple, Gui Yi. He also has power that matches a universe overlord, and he always stays by your side, yet he does not seem to own a soul-type true treasure. He hasn't gotten one, and Luo Feng received one way back when he was merely a sector lord. I'm afraid Gui Yi Knight would somehow find it unfair." "Discontented my foot," someone shouted. All at once, voices could be heard from the dozens of thrones that were enshrouded by a foggy mist. A soul-piercing cold permeated the air. To bestow them with valuables is showing them kindness. Not giving them any valuable is just a matter of due course. Want a true treasure? They can fight with each other. Primal Chaos City Leader can choose to bestow a soul-type true treasure to whomever he decides. No one else has the right to say anything more. If you ask me, I think we should mete out punishment to one as a deterrent to the rest. The one who rejoices the most ought to be put behind bars in the prison of the primal universe. That is too much. We should never subject ourselves to the discussions of the knights down there. They did not rob nor kill. They have done nothing to deserve being sent to prison. Everyone, said Primal Chaos City Leader. Seated on his golden throne, he flashed a smile. I may be extremely fond of this disciple, but the way I work is clear to everyone. I would never bestow upon Luo Feng a soul-type true treasure when he was a mere sector lord. The other universe masters, including the giant on the black throne, looked over. It was true. Primal Chaos City Leader was known for being a most impartial and authoritative leader. After all, to attain such a great existence as that of a universe master truly required one to have the patience to manage all matters and to plan and make arrangements for unexpected events of the race. There were many universe masters who simply could not be bothered with such matters. However, Primal Chaos City Leader had the patience, and he had always been much respected. When Luo Feng was a sector lord, he had 3 true treasures, said Primal Chaos City Leader. Only the Shou Wu wings were bestowed by me. The other 2 came from my disciple's miraculous encounters in which Lady Luck smiled upon him. He got the true treasures by himself. Those true treasures are not common, they are not easily obtainable, even if one meets with miracles. They are usually left behind by super beings on purpose, for their successors. We should not be bothered about which super beings. Anyway, it is a good thing when these true treasures fall into the hands of us humans. Ha ha ha. Correct. Regardless of who left the treasures behind for their successors, they belong to Luo Feng. No matter what, priority should always be given to the human. Thereafter, we can look into the roots of these true treasures. No wonder. I was not convinced when I heard that Primal Chaos City Leader bestowed 3 true treasures on Luo Feng. Primal Chaos City Leader is not one of such a character. Now I see why this situation made no sense to me. The words echoed from the dozens of thrones, everyone trying to be heard at once. The other knights are waiting, so let us commence the meeting, said the barbaric giant sitting on the black throne with a faint sculpture of an axe. He looked to his left and said to Primal Chaos City Leader, Primal Chaos City Leader, you should chair the meeting. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. On the thousands of thrones crowded together, Luo Feng conversed with the other universe knights next to him and soon discovered some basic information. The thrones in the Pantheon Sanctuary were divided into 5 classes. One would only be able to see the great beings who were a class higher than oneself. As for conversing, one could initiate a conversation with someone from the same class or someone from a lower class. Therefore, Luo Feng could only converse with 4-starred great beings, elementary universe knights, and 5-starred universe knights, secondary universe knights. As for elementary universe knights from the lower class, they were only able to converse with other elementary universe knights. Everyone, a kind and powerful voice announced. Pantheon Sanctuary fell into silence within an instant. The moment Luo Feng heard the voice, he knew it was his teacher, Primal Chaos City Leader. A Supreme Council meeting is convened every time a vital matter major enough to affect the entire race occurs. Primal Chaos City Leader's powerful voice resounded throughout Pantheon Sanctuary. No one dared interrupt. This time, the Supreme Council meeting is convened because the original star is about to open. Almost all the universe knights registered shocked expressions. The original star is about to open, a few of them murmured. The original star is the center of our vast universe, the territory that billions of races fight for, continued Primal Chaos City Leader. This opening will not be an exception. If you want to obtain a true treasure, if you want to make a big contribution to your race, your opportunity is here. Here's some detailed information. Let's all take a look first. Directly in front of the densely populated thrones where many great beings were seated, a screen showed up. A set of detailed descriptions appeared on the screen. Luo Feng fixed his attention on the screen before him. The very center of the entire universe was none other than the land of origin, yet for countless years, except for the conscious mind's occasional arrival in the land of origin, no other great being was able to reach the land of origin in person. It was as though the place was imaginary, yet the original star truly existed. Altogether, there were 10,081 of them. According to the information handed out since the birth of the universe, these 10,081 original stars revolved around the land of origin. It was said to be located closest place to the land of origin in the entire universe. These 10,081 original stars were full of valuables but also fraught with danger. There were 10,081 paths leading to the original stars, yet those thousands of paths were usually closed. But, after a long period of time, the way would open once. Every time, the way to the original star would be kept open for 1,000 eras. After 1,000 eras, the star would shut. All great beings who had entered needed to make their way out before it shut, or else they would be killed. Utilizing a clone or another body was not good enough. Many of these survival techniques had proven futile. If one did not leave the original star when the path was shut, death was inevitable. No exceptions whatsoever. This was the most mysterious place in the universe. No other place could compare to it. Not only were there treasures to be found in those 10,081 stars, but true treasures also appeared frequently. Super beings of the billions of races on the universe had engaged in epic battles for such treasures. Each race fought to claim these valuables as their own. Every time a star opened, it meant there would be universe masters being killed from within. It was all very bloody and cruel. Yet the potential for these treasures drove countless great beings crazy for the opportunity. Such was the nature of the original star, the place that was closest to the land of origin of the universe. Contribution, A, muttered Luo Feng as he looked to the bottom for another set of descriptions. The valuables obtained from the original stars, if obtained alone, could be kept as one's own. If you had no need for the valuable you obtained, you could offer it to the race in exchange for a contribution. The way races grew more powerful was dependent on the contributions offered by numerous great beings. In this case, a contribution could be used to exchange for other valuables. Luo Feng looked through the sets of information. One was related to information on the original star, the other was related to the detailed elaboration of contributions. It was obvious that only newcomers like Luo Feng and Tru Yang Knight, who were attending the Supreme Council for the first time, would receive this second set of information containing detailed elaboration on contributions. This description read: within the race, there are two kinds of humans. The first kind consists of those who enjoy the resources. The second kind is made up of those who contribute these resources. Ordinary humans and undying spirits are the ones who enjoy the resources. For instance, ordinary humans can enjoy peace and stability, while undying spirits who showed outstanding performance can receive the guidance and advice of supreme beings, or even have valuables bestowed upon them. They are the ones who enjoy the resources. Once one crosses over to become a universe great being, they are admitted to the Supreme Council. That would mean, you have become a core member of the human race. The human race requires the contribution of true great beings like yourself. Only through your contributions can there be billions of humans, generations of geniuses and immeasurable amounts of resources to use. All of you risk your lives to fight for valuable resources to offer your race. All of these will be officially recorded as contributions. You can make use of these contributions in exchange for all the valuable resources you need. Blade River Emperor Luo Feng, when you joined the Supreme Council, you abandoned your previous status as a talent and will now be entitled to a generous quota of resources. From this moment on, you are one of the supreme beings among us humans. You are perfectly capable enough to contribute greatly to our human race, and can make use of your contributions to exchange for the resources and valuables you need. Contributions? Luo Feng said softly. Of course, he thought. Everyone in a race of beings wanted only to receive benefits. If everyone expected the race to bestow resources to them, then who would be contributing? Luo Feng understood now. It was the equivalent of a tribal community. The men were expected to head out and hunt for food while the women would plant crops for harvesting, and the children would enjoy the fruits of the adults' labor. Within a race, the supreme beings contributed so that the talents, the weaker ones, and the ordinary humans could enjoy the resources. Only after you cross over to become one of the universe great beings can you start to contribute to the race, realized Luo Feng. Very well, Luo Feng said softly. This is quite good, actually, as it is meaningless to always be taking advantage. The original star? His eyes were sparkling. The universe is simply amazing. Prior to this, I was unaware of such a place. 10,081 original stars. The mysterious place that is closest to the land of origin of the universe. While all the supreme beings of the human race at the Supreme Council were still in shock, Primal Chaos City leader finally spoke again. The opening of the original star is still a whole 10 years away, he said. In the coming decade, everyone should start preparing. For instance, you could form small teams with a few other great beings, where your skills complement one another. Or you could borrow valuables from great beings who are unwilling to enter the original star. All preparations must be done within the decade. 10 years from now, we humans shall enter the original star. In 10 years, us humans will enter the original star. The Supreme Council meeting ended after the calm voice from Primal Chaos City leader. The door of Pantheon Sanctuary opened, and almost all the Universe Knights stood up. So soon. Luo Feng and Tru Yang Knight also stood along with the others. The Universe Knights all walked to the golden door of the sanctuary, chatting and laughing. They stepped through the door and disappeared. What are you guys waiting for? Bloody Wing Knight walked towards them. How short the meeting was. Luo Feng smiled. Bloody Wing Knight explained, I was also surprised at that the first time I attended the Supreme Council meeting. However, I grew to understand later that it takes a long time for an issue to come up that actually affects us humans. Besides, more than half of the Supreme Council meetings involve no discussions, and only Universe Masters need to know. Only those that require voting take a long time. After all, those superior Universe Masters don't have time to elaborate on the issue for us. Luo Feng nodded. It was indeed efficient. Primal Chaos City leader hadn't talked much. Instead, he had only mentioned the original star. Then the screens showed up in front of the Universe Knights, which gave a detailed description. "Let's go," Bloody Wing Knight said. "Okay." Luo Feng, True Yang Knight, and Bloody Wing Knight stepped into the golden door side by side. Nearby, some Universe Knights were talking quietly. "Look, it's Blade River Emperor. Rumor has it that Blade River Emperor has at least 6 true treasures. Though he was able to kill Bark Mirror Emperor and thus is ranked among the exceptional Undying fighters, he is, at most, a secondary Universe Knight power-wise. He'll become the perfect target for supreme beings of other races on the original star. Yes, he has at least 6 true treasures, and 2 of them are of the Soul type and the Flying Palace type. He'd just be a moving treasury on the original star. There are always supreme beings from billions of races on the original stars. The Universe Masters of other races will probably attack Blade River Emperor on sight. Universe Overlords and Universe Masters of other races will definitely attack him. What are you thinking? The weaker Universe Knights never choose to go when the original stars are open. Blade River Emperor is not stupid. Those other races can't do anything about him as long as he doesn't go. They also stepped into the Golden Door and disappeared. On the mountainside of Thunder Island, Luo Feng, Bloody Wing Knight, and True Yang Knight sat together and talking about the original star. To be precise, it was Bloody Wing Knight who did the talking while Luo Feng and True Yang Knight listened to him carefully. There are 10,081 original stars, and each of them is full of valuables, Bloody Knight said. Many superpowers in the universe gather there often. Those treasures or ordinary true treasures won't result in any significant fighting, whereas there will surely be horrifying battles for some precious true treasures like those of the Flying Palace type, Domain type, and Soul type, or even senior true treasures or top-tier true treasures. The more precious the true treasures are, the more attention will be drawn, and Universe Masters will fight to the death for them. Every time an original star opens, Universe Masters get killed. Luo Feng couldn't help but interject. Many Universe Masters have survival techniques like clone techniques. Those without clone techniques won't go to the original stars in the first place, right? This is where you're wrong. Bloody Wing Knight shook his head. There are only a few Universe Masters. A race is qualified to be a powerful race as long as there's one Universe Master among them. Even we humans, one of the pinnacle races, count just a few Universe Masters among our ranks. Few Universe Masters fear death. Although they're careful, the opening of original stars is a great chance for them to get top-tier true treasures, and they'll strive not to miss such an opportunity. If they can get some top-tier true treasures and even pinnacle true treasures, they can roam the universe with few enemies. Luo Feng nodded. He understood how useful true treasures were. For instance, Thousand Treasures River gave Primal Chaos City leader significant power, and he had been able to easily overpower Master of Sky Wolf, even with Skywolf Palace. The Purple Knight was one of the 72 deified generals, and he was much stronger than candidate deified generals like Peifeng Knight and Jufeng Knight. He actually had the power of a Universe Master, yet Master of Skywolf had been able to easily suppress him with his Skywolf Palace. "I've been there once, and I almost got killed," said Bloody Wing Knight. But just when Bloody Wing Knight was describing his experience on the original star, a shadow flew toward them. Luo Feng. Luo Feng turned around. Nine-Blade Knight? He thought. Luo Feng was dazed. After becoming Undying, many Universe Knights had traveled to congratulate him, but Nine-Blade River hadn't been one of them. Luo Feng knew that he was supposed to be beneath him, which was probably why Nine-Blade River was reluctant to do so. His pride was too great. Nine-Blade Knight, Luo Feng greeted him, smiling. Luo Feng. Nine-Blade River also had a warm smile on his face. He glanced at True Yang Knight and Bloody Wing Knight beside him and added, "And I see you two are also here. Ha ha ha. Nine-Blade. Are you here to borrow a true treasure?" Bloody Wing Knight said. Nine-Blade Knight froze a bit. Indeed, he was here to borrow a true treasure. After all, among the humans, only senior Universe Knights or Universe Overlords had true treasures. However, these supreme beings would normally go to the original stars. Few who had true treasures chose not to go. By all accounts, it was likely that Luo Feng would choose not to go, despite the fact that had at least 6 true treasures. There are no grudges between Luo Feng and me, he thought. Instead, we've known each other for a long time. I can easily become friends with him if I show him some respect. Besides, if I have a true treasure, I have a much higher chance of getting valuables on the original star. I just need to show some respect. Thus, after some consideration, Nine-Blade Knight had made the decision to come to Luo Feng. Power was the only thing that mattered on the path to becoming a great being. Other great beings would respect you only if you were strong. Luo Feng, I'm indeed here to borrow a true treasure from you, admitted Nine-Blade Knight. I'm good at close combat, so I want to borrow your true treasure armor. He knew that it was impossible for him to borrow the soul-type true treasure. Borrow a true treasure? Luo Feng was dazed. I realize it might sound a bit ridiculous. Nine-Blade Knight smiled. I'll return you the armor the moment I leave the original star, and I'll give you 10 treasures to show my gratitude. We can ask the virtual universe to verify the lending and sign a contract. If I don't return it to you, it would be as good as betraying my race. Luo Feng hesitated a bit. Would it be a bit disgraceful if he just said no? Nine-Blade Knight, Luo Feng said. I'm sorry, but... Nine-Blade Knight immediately understood that he had failed, but he persisted. Luo Feng, the original star will be open for 1,000 eras, and I can get out of there at any time. Once I get a valuable, I'll leave immediately. I might just stay there for hundreds of, if not 1,000 years. It's not that I don't want to lend it to you, Luo Feng said, but I actually plan to go to the original star myself. Nine-Blade Knight didn't know what to say. Since Luo Feng wanted to go to the original star himself, he surely wanted to be as powerful as possible. Haha. Well then. Bloody Wing Knight laughed. Nine-Blade, I was actually here to borrow a true treasure from Luo Feng as well, but I didn't expect you to have the same idea. Now that I know Luo Feng wants to go to the original star, however, I needn't ask anymore. I must thank you, Nine-Blade. Nine-Blade Knight smiled as well. He thanked Bloody Wing Knight secretly. His words had eased the awkwardness of the situation. Nine-Blade Knight left soon, but after only a short while, another great being arrived to borrow true treasures. Second brother, Luo Feng greeted him. A bold man in a fiery cape flew towards him. It was Guiyi Knight. He had been with Primal Chaos City leader until now. Luo Feng, I think you've already figured out why I'm here. Guiyi Knight stepped on the ground and looked at Luo Feng. I'm here because I want to borrow that soul-type true treasure from you. I speculate that you're not going to the original star, and that's why I'm here. After getting out of the original star, I'll return the soul-type true treasure immediately and compensate you with 3 true treasures. 3 true treasures? Luo Feng was shocked. Many universe overlords didn't have that many true treasures. Pei Feng Knight, for instance, only had 4. Guiyi Knight spent a lot of time around Primal Chaos City leader, perhaps that was how he got more true treasures. Still, 3 true treasures was an exceedingly generous offer. Second brother, Luo Feng said. Your offer is indeed tempting, but the thing is, I want to go to the original star myself. Luo Feng, Guiyi Knight said, startled, you also want to go? Luo Feng nodded. Yes. Don't you know how dangerous it is there? Guiyi Knight said. Ordinary universe knights are unlikely to attain any true treasures. Even if you were a universe overlord, you wouldn't be able to get 3 true treasures if you didn't have enough to protect yourself. Luo Feng understood his logic. Guiyi Knight was implying that it was a better deal for him to get 3 true treasures for lending him 1 soul-type true treasure, since even many universe overlords weren't able to get 3 ordinary true treasures. Luo Feng felt conflicted. Second brother, he thought, you don't know that my soul-type true treasure is Tower Pearl and that it already recognizes me as its master. Universe knights would certainly be killed if they tried to merge it with their souls. I'd still like to take my chances there, Luo Feng said. Okay, Guiyi Knight said. He nodded and smiled. Then I'll leave first. Looks like I'll need to find another way to borrow true treasures. Luo Feng watched the departing Guiyi Knight and felt a little regret. He simply could not comply this time, and while things might not seem any different on the outside, there was bound to be a knot formed in their hearts. What a pity, Luo Feng said quietly. My soul-type true treasure, Tower Pearl, is one of the treasures from the Star Tower and already recognizes me as its master. Universe Knights who try to merge with it will die. If it was an ordinary soul-type true treasure, temporarily loaning it to Gui Knight wouldn't be a big deal. Anyway, the original star opens for 1,000 eras. I can also wait for a few hundred eras. My power is bound to get much stronger. Who knows? I might even become a Universe Knight. Luo Feng. Bloody Wing Knight walked over. I think you should lend it to Gui Knight. Gui Knight is of a different status. It is not easy for him to make such a request. Haha. That goes without saying. Luo Feng laughed and shook his head. It wasn't because he did not want to him lend the treasure. He couldn't. It's up to you, Bloody Wing Knight said good-naturedly. You are quite ambitious. Well, I would like to give it a shot, Luo Feng replied. Indeed, Luo Feng wanted to experience what it was like on the mysterious original star. But he knew his power still did not make the grade. Time flew by, and many Universe Knights approached Luo Feng, wanting to borrow his true treasures. Naturally, most great beings would think that Luo Feng would not want to enter the original star. Yet, they all were met with rejection. Of those who approached Luo Feng, some were friends, some were close acquaintances, and others were complete strangers. News of how the earliest batch of Universe Knights was rejected when they went to Luo Feng to borrow his true treasures spread fast. Almost all the Universe Knights came to learn of it. Blade River Emperor Luo Feng actually wanted to venture into the original star, and anyone who wanted to borrow his true treasures could banish all thoughts of it. Conversations on the topic were common. Luo Feng wants to enter the original star? He is merely an undying fighter. Although he is said to be impressive, he is still just a secondary Universe Knight. Yet he owns so many true treasures. In the original star, he will be a walking treasury. Any supreme beings from the other races will attack him as soon as they meet him. Isn't he courting his doom? If he wants to die, what do you care? Going into the original star at that level is purely suicidal. Let's see what his end shall be when he enters the original star. It is okay for him to die. But if he dies, the true treasures will land in the hands of the other races. That will be a loss for our entire race, a most egregious sin. Fret not. He will not die so easily. Primal Chaos City leader values him a lot. He will help him. Who knows? Primal Chaos City leader may even arrange for 2 other universe overlords to form a team with him. There was indeed quite a crowd of Universe Knights who either found Luo Feng's very presence an eyesore or were jealous of him. These Universe Knights were always fighting hard to obtain valuables to offer their race so they could earn contributions in exchange for valuables and resources they needed for themselves. Yet, as a sector lord, Luo Feng could obtain soul-type true treasures. Of course, this would cause the other Universe Knights to develop a great deal of resentment, discontent, and even hostility toward him. Many Universe Knights were just waiting to watch Luo Feng make a fool of himself. He had to be kidding. What kind of a place was the original star? It was a realm where Universe Masters and Universe Overlords ran rampant, where senior Universe Knights were commonly seen, and even senior Universe Knights would usually form teams to survive there. The power of any team, regardless of size, could not be belittled, so how could Luo Feng, who was only undying, overcome such odds? Even if he was blessed with a special life form, even if he was blessed with special techniques or even the most powerful valuables, he did not stand a chance. He was undying, which meant his fate was predetermined, and he could never create miracles on that original star. In the virtual universe, on the mountainside of Thunder Island, disciple and teacher, Luo Feng and True Yang Knight, met up. I will not be entering that original star, said True Yang Knight. My powers are far from adequate. There was a note of bitterness in his eyes. I would really love to give it a shot, but I know where I stand. Luo Feng, you are my disciple, so let me give you some advice. Your powers are impressive enough, but there is no rush to enter the original star. Moreover, because of your eagerness, you may have estranged your relationship with 2 universe overlords. Luo Feng could only laugh. Yes, there were 2 universe overlords who wanted to borrow his true treasures. One was Gui Knight, and the other was by Feng Knight. Both had wanted to borrow his soul-type true treasure, but he was unable to accede to their requests, and he could not explain why. "You are certainly my disciple," said True Yang Knight. "You even share the same temperament as me." True Yang Knight laughed while shaking his head. "However, when you enter the original star, you must be careful. Be amply prepared. Judging from the information we have gathered so far, it is really very dangerous in there." Luo Feng nodded. Senior Universe Knights getting killed was common. In fact, it was frequently seen. Universe Overlords getting killed was common enough. There were quite a handful of Universe Overlord deaths. Universe Masters getting killed. That was possible, too. "Teacher, I am preparing," Luo Feng said. Said True Yang Knight. "You did not lend the true treasures to anyone, so now many Universe Knights of the human race are waiting to see you make a joke of yourself. Even your friends are not quite convinced that you are capable of such an unlikely achievement. But I am your teacher. I have watched you grow along the way. I believe in you." Luo Feng grinned. "Remember, do not give them the chance to mock you," True Yang Knight said. "Yes, teacher," Luo Feng said, nodding. A moment later, Luo Feng watched the departing True Yang Knight. "I'm afraid that, other than teacher, not many believe that I can accomplish this miraculous task," Luo Feng said softly. "Even I am not so confident, given my current power. If I were to run into a Universe Overlord, I would still need to avoid him. Trying to snatch food from a tiger's mouth is reckless. Trying to vie for those true treasures is the same. Too difficult. Force armor. Don't disappoint me." Luo Feng was sure of his power. With his power, he could run rampant anywhere in the universe. Yet, in that original star, where supreme beings from billions of races gathered, that was where the truly bloody fights occurred. Among all the Universe Masters, Universe Overlords, and Senior Universe Knights in their own small teams, he was indeed ranked at the bottom. He could only depend on force armor. The Universe Supreme Master Sitting Mountain Guest left his second disciple 2 true treasures. One was the Yangshan halberd, and the other was the original soul. For his third disciple, Luo Feng, he also left 2 true treasures. One was the Star Tower, the other was the Force Armor. The Star Tower had met with some accidents while in the making, bringing about an explosive boost in its power, allowing it to reach the level of a supreme true treasure. Force Armor, Yangshan halberd, and Original Soul, they were all true treasures that were of the same standard. Every one of them was unimaginably precious. Sitting Mountain Guest had paid an immeasurable amount for these. They did not pale in comparison to Primal Chaos City Leader's 1,000 Treasures River. However, Force Armor had been specially refined by Sitting Mountain Guest for his prospective third disciple, and it was designed and created according to his plan so that it would be customized to a high degree of compatibility with Luo Feng when he used it. The Star Map and Sherwu Wings are just ordinary true treasures, Luo Feng thought. Universe Masters are not concerned with them, as they do not serve much use. Force Armor, however, though a measure below the Star Tower, which is one of the supreme true treasures of the universe, still qualifies as one of the top-tier true treasures and pinnacle true treasures. It is much stronger than the Sherwu Wings. The might of Force Armor must be quite extraordinary. Yangshan race lived in a deserted land far away from the human domain. It was an independent race that occupied a large region of the universe. On a desolate planet, vivid green light rays filled the surroundings. A hideous being of another undying race and a youth clad in golden armor appeared on this desolate planet. "Not bad," said the youth in the golden armor said, flashing a smile after one look at the hideous being. The hideous-looking being groveled in veneration repeatedly. "According to the many different races under my command, and the many tokens and locations they have left in this universe, right here is the area closest to the Yangshan race." With a wave, Luo Feng summoned the hideous-looking being into his world ring. "Setting off from here to where the Yangshan race is, the distance is still incredibly far. Fortunately, I have the ancient boat galaxy." Luo Feng flipped his hand, and an ancient boat the size of a date kernel appeared on his palm. Larger, larger, larger. Luo Feng waved his hand. The ancient boat flew up into the air in an instant. At the same time, Luo Feng exerted his godly power with a gurgle. His godly power prompted a change as the ancient boat quickly grew larger while suspended in the air. In the blink of an eye, it became as big as the planet Luo Feng was on. Luo Feng laughed. Then, with a single step, he boarded the ancient boat. He stood on the deck, looking at the vast starry sky. A top-tier treasure such as a flying palace type is so much more powerful than a universe planet ship. Luo Feng exerted his godly power and shrank the ancient boat until it was about 3,200 feet long. After all, to keep the ancient boat at such an enormous size would have required him to use up a lot of his godly power. Take off, Luo Feng commanded using his mind. The ancient boat accelerated sharply. While sweeping away, it left a silver flare across the starry sky. Almost immediately, it reached the threshold of the speed of light. Thereafter, it disappeared from the sky and entered the dark universe. Within the dark universe, the ancient boat galaxy was still accelerating at a crazy rate. 10 times the speed of light. 20 times the speed of light. 30 times the speed of light. 100 times the speed of light. 200 times the speed of light. 300 times the speed of light. Ha ha ha. Marvelous, marvelous. Standing before the handrails on the ship's deck, Luo Feng held onto the railing and looked out. The prow of the ancient boat galaxy had naturally formed a shield that protected the ship within it. Compared to those biological planet ships and mechanical planet ships, this is much faster. Luo Feng constantly increased the speed of the ancient boat galaxy. Finally, at almost 800 times the speed of light, the speed ceased to increase. This was Luo Feng's limit, not the limit of the ancient boat galaxy. If Luo Feng had set his godly power ablaze, he would have increased the speed even more. And if Luo Feng's law comprehension had been better, he would have been able to increase the speed to a superior level. Enough, Luo Feng said to himself. I think it should take around 2 months or more of flying in the dark universe to reach the Yangshan secret region. The Yangshan race lived in a large region of the universe, and because this region was occupied and ruled by the Yangshan race, some universe great beings often referred to it as the Yangshan secret region. Riding the ancient boat galaxy, Luo Feng traversed the dark universe. After close to 3 months, the ancient boat galaxy finally reduced its speed and left the dark universe. In the vast, empty sky, Luo Feng stood on the deck of the ancient boat galaxy, gripping the rail as he looked out. I have reached the Yangshan secret region. Flame Emperor led the Flame God race out of the human race and found a remote territory far away from the human territory to live and breed. After many eons, Flame God race became much stronger, and together with Flame Emperor's invincible power, nobody dared to mess with the Flame God race. The territories of Flame God race and the human race were extremely distant from each other, but the Flame God race would often enter the outer domain battlefield, joining other groups to fight against the humans. I obtained some pieces of armors before, and they're all in the garbage dump after the war. Luo Feng stood on the deck of ancient boat galaxy and gazed out into space. The Flame God race has already detached from the human race, but they still cooperate with the bug race, the demon race, and automaton race to fight the humans. It seems there's a feud between them and the human race. Technically, the Flame God race had belonged to the humans before. Now that they had left the human race, there was no need for them to continue the fight. However, the information Luo Feng had obtained in the virtual universe, along with the armor pieces he had found in the dump pile, indicated that the Flame God race was hostile toward the human race. Flame Emperor is a universe master cultivated by Masters Washan Ku, thought Luo Feng, and he has 2 powerful true treasures, Flame God Halberd and Original Soul. He's definitely much more powerful than Master of Sky Wolf. However, even if he exited the human race, he didn't dare to go against Masters Washan Ku. Luo Feng waved his hands, and ancient boat galaxy immediately shrank to the size of a date pit and fell into his palm. I'll go and see this second brother of mine. Luo Feng teleported himself toward the lair of the Flame God race. The Flame God race lived on 3 vast continents. The smallest of the 3 had a diameter of over 1 light year, and the largest one had a diameter of more than 3 light years. The 3 of them surrounded each other. In the central space of the lands floated towering palaces, and there were endless fires around the palaces, burning black, purple, white, green and blue. Undying warriors were walking in the hallway and on the square. Sometimes, they would look to the tallest main palace at the center with veneration. All the warriors of the flame god race were tall, robust, and aggressive-looking. The shorter ones were 25 feet tall, while the taller ones were over 30 feet tall. There were scales covering their skins, and each had a single horn set between their eyebrows. Their hands and feet looked like those of earthlings but thicker and covered in scales. Inside the main palace, a towering being sat on the throne. It was almost 6,000 miles tall, and the air exhaled from its nose burned the space around him. His black horn seemed to pierce the sky, and he was covered in black scales. He tapped on the handrail and gazed out into space. He saw the shadow of Luo Feng flying toward him in the distance. Such a strong force. "There's a guest in the secret region of my flame god race," the towering figure whispered. He was a universe master. Ordinary universe knights were already able to sense faraway space ripples, but universe masters who were able to completely control space and time were able to detect all the space ripples within tens of millions of light-years around here. As long as he wanted, space and time were like his horns that could spread. "Let's see who the guest is." The towering being looked afar and saw through everything blocking his sight. A black-haired young man was flying toward him. The force of the towering being on the throne trembled, shaking the surrounding space. "Third brother." The towering being murmured. "I knew you'd come here after becoming undying. Taking True Yang as your teacher and Primal Chaos City leader as your teacher. Third brother, why are you so connected to the human race? Have you forgotten that your homeland, Earth, was robbed by the human race? Don't you know that they treat you well because they want you to sacrifice for them?" He shook his head. "I'm sorry. I won't allow a true treasure like Force armor to fall into human hands." The towering being smiled. "Without Master Zhuoshan Ku's order, you will never get the Force armor." Master Zhuoshan Ku. Flame God felt intimidated even mentioning that name. The more powerful he got, the more he realized how remarkable Zhuoshan Ku was. Zhuoshan Ku had given Flame Emperor the original soul, the Flame God halberd, and Force armor. He left Force armor in Flame Emperor's place only temporarily. After becoming a universe master with 3 super true treasures, there was almost no one whom he needed to be afraid of. He wasn't afraid of Primal Chaos City leader or Meng Tuor master. Although the pinnacle beings among the universe masters were able to suppress him, they couldn't kill him. The only ones who were capable of killing him were the Universe Supreme Masters. All the Universe Supreme Masters were incredibly powerful. They were able to change laws and completely control a certain area. However, the universe law suppressed them from being too powerful, and that was why they could only manifest power slightly stronger than Primal Chaos City leader and Meng Tuor master. "That gigantic axe founder didn't dare anger me because of his relationship with the human race," muttered Flame Emperor. However, Master Zhuoshan Ku has all sorts of skills, and everyone who messed with him ended up being crushed. Flame Emperor's eyes gleamed coldly. "Besides, he's always been alone, and he knows all my trump cards. If we fight, I'll..." Zhuoshan Ku was the only one in the universe that Flame Emperor feared. "Besides, even I can't control the Force armor completely." Flame Emperor stroked his arms, and a transparent suit of armor appeared on top of his scales. There were intricate engravings constantly changing on it. Zhuoshan Ku was the best at creating true treasures. "The Force armor was created for my third brother, and thus all the other great beings aren't able to make it recognize them as their owners. Even though I'm able to do that, I can only wield a part of its power. Like Tower Pearl. Anyone who tried would die. Although the Force armor was not that extreme, the other great beings wouldn't utilize it at all. Even Flame Emperor was only able to partially utilize it. Although I'm only able to wield a portion of its power, it's still better than lots of top-tier true treasures." Flame Emperor caressed the transparent armor and looked at the shadow in the distance. He smiled and whispered, "Third brother, if you can arrive here and get to see me, I'll follow the order from Zhuoshan Ku and hand it to you. However, the prerequisite is for you to see me, or you at least need to arrive at the dwelling place of Flame God race, As long as Luo Feng didn't get the chance to tell the undying fighters within Flame God race of his intentions, then Flame Emperor could pretend to know nothing. However, if Luo Feng couldn't even make it to the land of the Flame God race to see the seniors within the Flame God race, Flame Emperor could pretend not to know about it. Hehe. You want the Force armor now? Wait until you become a Universe Knight. Your power is not even strong enough to get to the land of Flame God race. Flame Emperor abruptly stood up, left his throne room, and walked outside of the palace. Flame Emperor knew Zhuoshan Ku's personality, as everything he did could be tolerated by Zhuoshan Ku. Seal. Flame Emperor muttered. The space ripples hundreds of light years around his centered became completely sealed. The space coordinates of the Flame God race are already concealed, but I'll add some further security to that. Even if you ask Primal Chaos City leader to help you crack it, it'll take some time. Flame Emperor smiled and flew into the dark universe at light speed. Luo Feng teleported himself continuously as he approached the land of the Flame God race. Almost there. Luo Feng thought. Luo Feng said, suddenly stopping to look at the space in front of him. Star fragments floated before him. The space ripples here are completely locked. Why? Within the five-color Aurora Lake, great beings are unable to teleport themselves, thought Luo Feng, and teleportation is only allowed in certain areas on Borhinia Island. In some of the vital places of human territory, like the Primal region, teleportation is also forbidden. Does this apply to Flame God race also? Universe Masters were able to sculpt lore engravings on some gigantic special buildings and drove them with specific crystals like Flame God origin crystals, by which they were able to maintain the effect of Space Seal. They could also accomplish that by using some true treasures. But if he did that, beings of Flame God race also couldn't teleport themselves. Luo Feng frowned. Did my second brother seal the space deliberately? Wait. Luo Feng sensed something going on behind him. He waved his wings, and a beam of light flashed behind him and reached the dark universe at light speed. Luo Feng flew in the dark universe and arrived at the land of Flame God race. At least, he thought he did. Where are the coordinates? Where are the coordinates of the lands of Flame God race? Luo Feng held the locator on his left hand. The coordinates on the screen kept changing, and the coordinates at the center completely disappeared. Luo Feng was stupefied. This was even more brilliant than the way Hu Yangbo had hidden the coordinates in the dark universe. You are simply devious. Luo Feng whispered. You hid the coordinates in the dark universe and sealed the space, which means I can only fly there. Hundreds of light years. Even if I fly there at light speed, it'll take me hundreds of years to arrive. Luo Feng now realized that his second brother Flame Emperor had done this on purpose. He was clearly reluctant to return the Force armor. However, although he hid the universe coordinates and sealed the space, he didn't come here to attack me, Luo Feng thought. It seems that he doesn't dare go against Zhuoshan Ku directly. This video will end here.